Good morning, everyone. This is B. Ramarao from Government Polytechnic, Station Ganpur. Today, our topic Covalent Bond. In this topic, we discuss what is covalent bond, how to form covalent bond in some compounds like hydrogen molecule, oxygen molecule, and nitrogen molecule. These topics belongs to first year diploma students, first semester, common SC 104 subject code. Now we discuss about covalent bond. Objectives. On the completion of this period, you would be able to know. On the completion of this period, you would be able to know what is covalent bond, what is oxidation, reduction, how to find oxidation number of some molecules. Now, covalent bond. Covalent bond. The word covalent is a combination of the prefix co from Latin cum, meaning with or together, and the verb valere, meaning to be strong. Two electrons shared together have the strength to hold two atoms together in a bond. Covalent bond is two electrons shared together have the strength to hold two atoms together in a bond. This covalent is a combination of the prefix of co, that means with or together, and while remaining to be strong. Come together to be a strong bond. Two electrons shared together have the strength to hold two atoms together in a bond. That bond means covalent bond. What is covalent? A chemical bond. A chemical bond formed by equal contribution and mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms is called covalent bond. A chemical bond formed by equal contribution and mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms. Already we discussed ionic bond, the electrostatic of attraction between opposite charged ions formed by transfer of electrons is called ionic bond. By the transfer of electrons between the atoms to form a chemical bond is called ionic bond. By the sharing of electrons between the atoms to form a bond is called covalent bond. A chemical bond formed by equal contribution and mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms is called covalent bond. Covalent bond was proposed by Louis. Covalent bond was proposed by Louis It is formed generally if the electronegativity difference between two atoms is less than 1.9. If the more than 1.9 to form transfer of electrons between the atom to form ionic bond. If the two atoms electronegativity difference between less than 1.9 to form covalent bond. Each atom contributes equal number of electrons for sharing. Each atom contributes equal number of electrons for sharing. The sharing takes place in pairs. The shared electron pair belongs to both the bonded atoms and contribute for the stability of atoms. Sharing can involve one pair, two pair, or three pair of electrons. This results formation of single bond, double bond, or triple bond respectively. They are shown by the symbol single line or double lines between the atoms or triple lines between the atoms. The single line is a one pair of electrons between the atoms. These covalent bond formed by between the atoms. Forces that hold group of atoms together to make them functions as unit. These two types of bonds. One is covalent bond, second one is ionic bond. The forces that hold group of atoms together and make them function as a unit. These unit of bonding two types. One ionic bond, second one is covalent bond. Ionic bond. Ionic bond. These ionic bond formed between the atoms by transfer of electrons. A chemical bond formed by complete transfer of one or more electrons from one atom to another atom is called ionic bond or electrovalent bond. A chemical bond formed by transfer of electrons between the atoms. By the transfer of electrons, one atom gets positive charged ion, another atom gets negative charged ions. These opposite charged ions attract together to form a chemical bond. The strong electrostatic force of attraction between opposite charged ions. Oppositely charged ions formed by transfer of electrons is called ionic bond. The number of electrons lost or gained by an atom during from ionic bond is called electrovalency. Electrovalency. This ionic bond is formed between elements having high electropositivity atom like metals and high electronegativity atoms like non-metals. The difference in electronegativity between two elements must be greater than 1.9. The metallic element form cation and non-metallic element form anion. The attraction between these opposite charge ions to form ionic bond. Like some example of ionic compounds: sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, sodium oxide, aluminum oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminum trichloride. These are formation of ionic bond in some molecule. Covalent bond. Second one is covalent bond. Sharing of electrons between the atoms to form covalent bond. The bond formed by equal contribution and mutual sharing of electrons between the atoms is called covalent bond. The bond formed between atoms by the sharing of electrons. This covalent bond was proposed by Lewis. It is formed generally if the electronegativity difference between two atoms less than 1.9. Then both are sharing together to form a covalent bond. Molecule. What is a molecule? Many elements found in the nature are in the form of molecule. A neutral group of atoms joined together by covalent bond. For example, air contains oxygen molecule consisting of two oxygen atoms joined covalent bond called a diatomic molecule. Diatomic molecule. What is a molecule? Many elements found in nature are in the form of molecule. The neutral group of atoms joined together by covalent bond. For example, air contains oxygen molecule consisting of two oxygen atoms joined to form covalently called a diatomic molecule. Diatomic molecule. How does hydrogen form? The nuclei repel each other since they both have a positive charge. Like charges repels. How does hydrogen form? How does hydrogen form? Hydrogen. The hydrogen atom has only one electron in its valence. The hydrogen atom has only one electron in its valence cell. It requires one more electrons to attain electronic configuration of the nearest inert gas helium configuration. So the hydrogen atom has only one electron in its valence cell. This hydrogen atom is unstable. It requires one more electrons to attain stability to get nearest inert gas helium configuration. Helium configuration. Two hydrogen atoms share their valency electrons. Two hydrogen atoms share their valency electrons between themselves so that the two electrons belongs to both the atoms. Thus, both the atoms have two electrons in their valency cell, as in helium atom. Although the total number of electrons in the molecule is only 2, as one pair of electrons is involved in bonding. A single bond exists between two hydrogen atoms, which is shown by a single line joining them. A pair of shared electrons forming a double bond is called bond pair. Since an hydrogen atom form one covalent bond, the covalency of hydrogen is 1. The hydrogen atom has single electron in its valence. It requires one more electrons to attain stability. Each hydrogen atom contributes one electron and the electron pair is shared between two hydrogen atoms, hence a single covalent bond formed between hydrogen atoms. How does hydrogen form? But the nuclei are attracted to the electrons. They share the electrons and this is called a covalent bond and involves only non-metals. It involves only non-metals. Sharing of electrons. Sharing of electrons. Atoms that share electrons are called molecules. The atoms can share multiple electrons to obtain a full outer shell of electrons. Here we give an example of H2O, water molecule, ammonia, NH3, methane, CH4. Methane, CH4. These three molecules are formed by covalent bond. In water molecule, in between oxygen and hydrogen form a covalent bond. In ammonia, in between nitrogen and hydrogen form a covalent bond. In methane, carbon and hydrogen in between form a covalent bond. How to form a covalent bond between water, ammonia and methane? In water molecule present one oxygen atom, two hydrogen atoms. Oxygen in its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 2p4. In its valency cell has 6 electrons. In the 6 electrons, 2p, 4 electrons, 2s, 2 electrons. 2s, 2 electrons, 2p, 4 electron means 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1 electron. Then fourth electron enter into 2px. 2px have pair of electrons. 2s orbital also pair of electrons. In its valence you have two pair of electrons, two unpaired electrons. Then it requires two more electrons to get stability in its valency cell to get nearest inert gas neon configuration. So it requires two more electrons to get stability. Hydrogen atom have only one electron. These hydrogen require one more electrons to get stability nearest helium configuration. Two hydrogen atoms involving in sharing of two valency electrons of oxygen then form two covalent bond between oxygen and hydrogen atoms. Then oxygen get nearest inert gas neon configuration, and also each hydrogen atom also get helium configuration. In water molecule form a covalent bond between oxygen and hydrogen atoms. Oxygen and hydrogen atoms. In ammonia formed between one nitrogen atom, three hydrogen atoms. Three hydrogen atom. Nitrogen, its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. In valency cell have 5 electrons. It requires 3 more electrons to get nearest inert gas neon configuration. In these 5 electrons, 2p has 2 electrons, 2s has 2 electrons, 2px 1 electron, 2py 1 electron, 2pz 1 electron. Each orbital contains only one electrons. It requires 3 more electrons to get stability. In its valency, 1 pair of electrons, 3 unpaired electrons. Those 3 unpaired electrons sharing with 3 hydrogen atoms, single electrons, then hydrogen atom also get stable electronic configuration of helium. Then nitrogen get nearest inert gas neon configuration, and also hydrogen get nearest inert gas helium configuration in ammonia. Then both atoms get stable electronic configuration, mutual sharing of electrons between nitrogen and hydrogen atoms. Nitrogen and hydrogen atoms. In methane, CH4, carbon and 4 hydrogens combine together to form a stable molecule of methane. Carbon, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. In its valency cell, 2s 2 electrons, 2p 2 electrons. 1 electrons transfer from s orbital to p orbital, then in its valency cell have s orbital 1 electron, 2px 1 electron, 2py 1 electron, 2pz 1 electron. In its valency cell have 4 unpaired electrons. These 4 unpaired electrons require 4 more electrons to get stability. 4 hydrogen atoms sharing with 4 unpaired electrons of carbon atoms, then carbon get stable electronic configuration of neon, and 4 hydrogen atom also get nearest inert gas helium configuration in its valency cell. Then both atoms get stable electronic configuration in its valency cell. Hydrogen and oxygen combine together to form water molecule. Nitrogen and 3 hydrogen atoms combine together, mutual sharing together to form 3 covalent bond between ammonia. In carbon and 4 hydrogen atoms sharing together to form a stable molecule of methane. In water molecule, 2 covalent bonds between oxygen and hydrogen. In ammonia molecule, 3 covalent bonds between nitrogen and hydrogen. In methane, 4 covalent bonds between carbon and hydrogens. These are methane, water molecule, and ammonia. Methane, water molecules, and ammonia. These covalent compounds are called polar covalent compounds. A covalent bond formed between dissimilar atoms. Dissimilar atoms means oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen. The dissimilar atoms to form a covalent bond is called polar covalent bond. The resulting molecules are polar molecules. In this bond, the bond pair of electrons shared uniquely by the atoms. So the more electronegativity atom get partial negativity and less electronegativity get partial positivity. Like example, H2O, NH3, CH4. These all are polar covalent compounds. Polar covalent compounds. Second one is non-polar covalent compounds. A covalent bond formed between similar atoms. Similar atoms like hydrogen, hydrogen, oxygen and oxygen, nitrogen and nitrogen. A covalent bond formed between similar atoms, that is, atoms of element, is called non-polar covalent compounds. That resulting of molecules are non-polar molecules. The bond pair of electrons are shared equal by both our atoms. Like example, H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, so on. Molecules are neutral group of atoms that are joined by one or more covalent bonds. Covalent bonds are formed with non-metals only. This bond formed between non-metals only. Non-metals that bond with themselves are called diatomic molecules. These diatomic molecules like H2, N2, O2, F2, Cl2, Br2, I2, so on. Here already we discussed about formation of hydrogen molecule. Now formation of oxygen. Formation of oxygen. Oxygen atom, its electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. So in its valence cell have only 6 electrons. In the 6 electrons, 2s, 2 electrons, 2s, 2 electrons, 2p, 4 electrons. In these 4 electrons, 2px, 2 electrons, 2py, 1 electrons, 2pz, 1 electrons. So in these 6 electrons in the valence cell, and 2 electrons are required to get stable electronic configuration of neon. 2 more electrons required to get stable electronic configuration of neon. In the formation of oxygen molecule, each atom share 2 of its valence shell electrons with the other, and thus both atoms complete their octet. The remaining 4 electrons in the valence shell of each atoms are present as 2 lone pairs. The non-bond electron pair present in the valence shell are called lone pairs. Since two pair of electrons are shared, there is a double bond between two atoms. So, in oxygen molecule have one double bond between oxygen and oxygen. So this molecule is called divalent molecule. Second one is nitrogen. Nitrogen electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. In valence cell, one pair of electrons, three unpaired electrons. In its valency 5 electrons, it require 3 more electrons to get stable electronic configuration in its valency. In the formation of the nitrogen molecule, each atom share their unit valency cell electrons with other, thus both the atoms complete their octet. The two unshared electrons in the valency cell of each atoms present as a lone pair. Since three pair of electrons are shared, there is a triple bond between two nitrogen atoms. There is a triple bond between two nitrogen atoms. In this triple bond, one sigma bond and two pi bonds. The nitrogen is trivalent. In oxygen molecule have one sigma bond and one pi bond. Then this between oxygen and oxygen divalent bond. In nitrogen and nitrogen between three bonds. In these three bonds, one sigma bond, two pi bonds. So these three bonds are called trivalent bonds. Trivalent bonds. Covalent bond. Remember that ionic compounds transfer electrons in order to attain a noble gas electronic configuration. Covalent compounds formed by sharing of electrons to attain a noble gas electronic configuration. Regardless of type of bonds, the octet rule still must be obeyed 8 electronic configuration. Covalent bond, already we discussed. In hydrogen molecule present single bond. In oxygen molecule present double bond. In nitrogen molecule present triple bond. The single bond between hydrogen and hydrogen mutual sharing together two electrons to form a single bond. The single bond is sigma bond. Double bond between four electrons shared between oxygen and oxygen, one sigma bond and one pi bond between oxygen and oxygen atom. In triple bond between nitrogen and nitrogen, 6 electrons mutual sharing together to form 3 bonds. In these 3 bonds, one sigma bond, 2 pi bonds between nitrogen molecule. Characteristics of covalent compounds. Covalent compounds generally have much lower melting and low boiling point. Covalent compounds are soft. On the other hand, covalent compounds have these molecules which very easily moved around each other because there are no bonds between them. As a result, covalent compounds are frequently flexible rather than hard. Covalent compounds are available in gas state or liquid state or solid state. Covalent compounds have low melting and low boiling point due to weak van der Waals forces. Covalent compounds are insoluble in water but soluble in nonpolar solvent like benzene, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, so on. Covalent compounds are non-conductors due to absence of free ions. Covalent bond is directional and compounds show isomerism. The reaction in covalent compounds are slow reaction. These compounds are available in gas state or liquid state or solid state. These compounds have low melting point and boiling point. These are insoluble in water but soluble in non-polar solvent like benzene, carbon tetrachloride. These compounds are non-conductors due to absence of ions. Covalent bond is directional and compounds show isomerism. The reaction in covalent compounds are slow reaction. Covalent compounds tends to be more flammable than ionic compounds. Covalent compounds don't conduct electricity in water. Covalent compounds are not usually very soluble in water. Now, difference between ionic and covalent compounds. Difference between ionic and covalent compounds. Ionic bond. What is ionic bond? Ionic bond formed by transfer of electrons. Covalent bond formed by sharing of electrons. Ionic bond between a metal and non-metal to form ionic bond. Between metal and non-metals to form ionic bond. Covalent bond formed between two non-metals. Metal and non-metal means sodium metal, non-metal chlorine. By the transfer of electrons between sodium to chlorine to form sodium chloride. Between two non-metals like hydrogen and oxygen. These two mutual sharing of electrons between oxygen and hydrogen to form covalent bond. Ionic bond formed by transfer of electrons between the atoms. Covalent bond formed by sharing of electrons between the atoms. Sharing of electrons between the atoms to form covalent bond. Ionic bond formed by transfer of electrons between the atoms. Ionic bonds conduct electricity when melted or dissolved. Ionic compounds are non-conductors, but in aqueous solution state, in molten state, it acts as conductors. Does not conduct electricity. These all are non-conductors. These ionic compounds are available in crystalline solid state. Covalent compounds are available in solid state or liquid state or gaseous state. Compounds having high boiling point and high melting point. Ionic compounds having high boiling point and high melting point. Covalent compounds having low boiling point and melting point. Many dissolve in water. 100% covalent molecule will dissolve in non-polar solvent like benzene, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, oils, etc. They do not dissolve in oils. Ionic compounds, covalent compounds are dissolved in oils. These are differences between ionic and covalent compounds. What is ionic compound? Ionic compounds are formed by transfer of electrons. Covalent compounds are formed by sharing of electrons. Ionic compounds consist of ions. Covalent compounds consist of molecules. Ionic compounds are available in crystalline solid state. Covalent compounds are available in solid state or liquid state or gas state. Ionic compounds having high melting and boiling points. Covalent compounds have low melting point and boiling point. Ionic compounds are soluble in polar solvents like water. This is due to hydration of ions and energy releases insufficient to break ions. Covalent compounds are insoluble in water but soluble in non-polar solvent like benzene, carbon tetrachloride. Ionic compounds are non-conductors in solid state but conductor in aqueous solution state or molten state. Covalent compounds are non-conductors of electricity due to absence of free ions. Ionic bond is non-directional and do not show isomerism. Covalent bond is directional and compounds show isomerism. The reaction in ionic compounds are very fast. The reaction in covalent compounds are slow reaction. These are differences between ionic and covalent compounds. Now, coordinate covalent bond. What is coordinate covalent bond? Coordinate covalent bond. Coordinate covalent bond. A coordinate covalent bond formed between two atoms in which the pair of electrons is contributed by one of the atoms. The atom providing the electron pair is called donor. Electron pair is called donor. The atom which accepts electron pair is called accept. A coordinate covalent bond is denoted by arrow mark towards the accept. Coordinate conditions for the formation of coordinate covalent bond. First one is donor atom should have a lone pair of electrons. The acceptor atom should have a vacant orbital to accept the electron pair donated by donor. Donated by donor. Combination of ammonia and boron trifluoride. Ammonia and boron trifluoride. Ammonia. In this molecule present one nitrogen atom and three hydrogen atoms. Boron trifluoride present one boron atom, three fluorine atoms. In ammonia, the nitrogen atom in ammonia has full outer shell, inclusive of a lone pair of electrons. In nitrogen atom of central nitrogen atom of one pair of electrons and three covalent compounds of nitrogen and hydrogen. So, in ammonia, nitrogen central atom have one pair of electrons, it is act as electron pair donor. In boron trifluoride, one boron atom, three fluorine atom, into valence shell have one empty orbital. The boron atom in boron trifluoride is short of two electrons, which is accepts the attain full outer shell. Full outer shell. In boron trifluoride, nitrogen donate one pair of electrons to another atom. It is act as electron pair donor. In boron trifluoride, boron accept one pair of electrons from ammonia. It is act as acceptor. One is donor, another one is acceptor. How to form ammonia and boron trifluoride between coordinate covalent bond? Between coordinate covalent bond. In ammonia, central atom of nitrogen present one pair of electrons. 3 covalent bond between nitrogen and hydrogen. So nitrogen and hydrogen, 3 covalent bonds, 1 pair of electron on central atom of nitrogen. In boron trifluoride, boron and fluorine between 3 covalent bonds, and central atom of boron have one empty orbital there. It requires 2 more electrons to get stable electronic configuration of Ns2Np6. So these nitrogen pair of electrons donate to boron trifluoride, then form one pair of electron between nitrogen and boron. This pair of electrons given by one of the molecule in the atom is called coordinate covalent bond. Then ammonia NH3 boron trifluoride gain of one pair of electrons, then arrow mark indication coordinate covalent bond. And ammonia and boron trifluoride between form a coordinate covalent bond. Here ammonia is stable molecule, but it presents one pair of electrons in valence shell in its central atom of nitrogen. Boron trifluoride present only 6 electrons in its valency. It is unstable. It requires 2 more electrons to get stability. Those 2 electrons given by nitrogen atom to the boron then form nitrogen, get nearest inert gas configuration, and boron also get stable electronic configuration of octet configuration Ns2Np6. Then form between ammonia and boron trifluoride coordinate covalent bond. About this topic, frequently asked questions. Frequently asked question about this topic. Define covalent bond. Define covalent bond. Explain formation of covalent bond in hydrogen molecule, oxygen molecule, and nitrogen molecule. In hydrogen, each hydrogen contains only one electron in its valence shell. Both hydrogen atoms mutual sharing of 2 electrons to get nearest inert gas helium configuration. In oxygen, it presents 2 pair of electrons, 2 unpaired electrons in its valence shell. It requires 2 more electrons to get stable electronic configuration of neon configuration. Then 2 oxygen atoms mutual sharing of 2 pair of electrons. In these 2 pair of electrons, one sigma bond and one pi bond. These divalent bond or double bond between oxygen and oxygen atom. In nitrogen molecule present one pair of electrons, 3 unpaired of electrons in valence shell. These 3 unpaired electrons between 2 nitrogen atoms mutual sharing together to form a triple bond between nitrogen and nitrogen. In this triple bond, one sigma bond and 2 pi bonds between nitrogen and nitrogen atoms. Write the difference between ionic and covalent compounds. Ionic compounds are formed by transfer of electrons. Covalent compounds are formed by sharing of electrons. These are available in crystalline solid state. These are available in solid, liquid or gas state. These are soluble in polar solvent. These are insoluble in non-polar solvent. These are conductor in aqueous solution state or molten state. These are non-conductors. Ionic compounds does not show isomerism. Covalent compounds are show isomerism. Ionic compounds are act as conductor. Covalent compounds are non-conductor. The reaction between ionic compounds very fast reaction. The reaction between covalent compounds very slow reaction. Thank you once again.